family, how you guys doing? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are good. Yeah, if you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, if there's any negativity, if there's any hate, please do keep that on your side of the street, okay? It won't be acknowledged. So, family, in this video, I'm being guided to talk about us taking time to sit down with ourselves and go within, right? What do you mean, Phie? Take time to sit down and go within. I'll get a journal, pen, and to really sit quietly with yourself. Take some time to sort of, be present. Be aware of yourself existing in the past. Sit down, be quiet, be aware of yourself existing in the future. Are you in a mind space that's always worrying about being in the future? Are you in a mind space that's always, in the background, frustrated and agitated about the past? And if you try finding yourself being in the present, do you find yourself, moving into spaces of discomfort because issues that you have a resistance to looking at and wanting to deal with tend to rear their head and show themselves, ask you to be, asking you to look at me. Are you aware of this happening, or are you unconscious? And when you find a moment to be in your present, when the discomfort arrives, when thoughts start making themselves present and visible in your mind, what do? Is your immediate reaction to go and or response to that, and unconsciously as well, to go and busy yourself and distract yourself, or go and speak to somebody about something, or figure out what someone else is doing? What is your resistance to looking at yourself and looking at whatever you have unresolved within you? What does that look like for you? What does that manifest into? Does it manifest into you needing a whole lot of people around you all the time, distracting you and having your energy muffled up and mixed with a whole bunch of other people's energy, so that you don't have a clear view of where exactly your state of energy is residing at? What is your experience of yourself when you try and center yourself into your present moment? When last have you sat down to actually really look at yourself? Sat down quietly, consciously making sure not to have any kind of distractions or things vying for your attention. Are people around you? Do you have people around you who encourage you to, to do that, and, put a little bit of time and energy into your self-love, not self-care, self-love, and paying yourself attention that really you should value more. You should value more than any kind of attention you can get from anybody on the outside. Have you ever been shown, have you ever taken the time to feel what it feels like to actually be seen by you? You want the whole world to see you, but you don't even see you. It's crazy, right? And it's so common. Everybody's vying to, to grab other people's attention, to be seen by others, but they don't even know what they look like on the inside. They don't know their true state. Everything that they exist around in their world their idea of reality has been cushioned with everything that they cushion their idea of reality within, in a way that, prevents their wounding from getting hurt, prevents their wounding from getting aggravated. And people become comfortable just moving around and existing in a state of pain and wounding because, everyone is afraid to look at themselves. And many aren't even aware of what life looks like and what life feels like on the other side of a healed wound on the inside. It's really something to think about, huh? Where are the truths about your world and your life and the relationships you have in your life? Where are you just resistant to looking at them and integrating them? Where have people hurt you in your past to the point that you're in the emotional part of it, and instead of sitting quietly and processing what it is that has happened to you, you move into a place of distraction, you move into a place of sweeping it under the rug, adding it to the pile of everything else that you haven't dealt with. When last have you taken the time to really look at yourself and look at what's going on inside you? When last have you taken the time to look at the way you view life, to elevate your perspective, to release old ways of thinking and being? Are you still living in old paradigms that have been, put up to you by your parents that might not apply to, or might be even causing friction and difficulty and blockages in certain things and whatever it might be that you may be trying to achieve in certain areas of your life today, because they no longer apply, but you have unconscious limitations and barriers and ways of seeing the world and your life, and on top of that, slapping on the extra layer of system programming. And again, it's not something that's going to happen, overnight or in a week. You need to take the time to also love yourself and commit to yourself. You want somebody else out there to commit to you? Are you committed to yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? How do you prioritize and value yourself? Do you give yourself what you deserve? Where are you resistant to seeing yourself? Where is your perspective misaligned to the truth and reality of your life? What about the people around you? Are the things that you don't want to look at inside? What are those things? What kind of glasses do they put on for you? And how do they help you? Or how do you interpret the people around you for the glasses you have on that are based on what you have going on inside that you don't want to look at? I hope that makes sense. It's a lot to think about, huh? I mean, like for myself, just tell a little story about myself. So, as I've shared before, I have a mother who's extremely narcissistic, and to the point of, it's an unconscious thing. And one of the things that, when I was being taught to look and go within myself, I had a resistance, I had a pain within myself that you know, it would come up every time, every now and then. It was also a pain that would trigger me sometimes, and something that was always existing below the surface, right? But it wasn't something that I wanted to look at because it was a reality of my life that that made everything else. It challenged a whole bunch of other things that I had built up within my mind around my mother to protect me and to cushion me and keep me safe, or what I thought protected me, cushioned me, and kept me safe. But really, in the outside world, manifested as friction, manifested as codependency. I mean, my mother was somebody who's never supposed to be a mother. It's just the reality of it, and my my own programming around mother, and I guess, also for myself, not wanting to recognize that within the relationship between her and I, what I required out of the relationship was not aligned with what she was willing, or with what she wanted to give, right? My relationship and the things that I, as her daughter, wanted and needed and believed and hoped that I would get out of a mother were not the things that were consciously on her mind or as priorities in her way, and in her way of being, and her own understanding and exercising of her life. And when, certain things happened along the way, that, had no choice but to shake my reality around the relationship I was, about the reality I was living in with regards to my mother. I had to accept the truth that there was a misalignment between me wanting just a mother and me having somebody in my life who, in her natural state and unconscious way of being, had always seen me as a threat, had seen me as a problem, had always harbored some sort of resentment towards me. But my own programming and, not wanting to see the reality of situations and, also the dynamic of the relationship, all of those things required, to be able to look at those things before I actually took the time to look at them and see them for what they were. I had this nagging pain, and, that I only really took the time to ask, well, what is this? Why? What is this thing that I feel when it comes to my mother? And, Spirit started, showing it to me when I started taking the time to sit down and really show an interest in myself. Really pay attention to where was I hurting. I was hurting because my soul was able to perceive the misalignment. But everything in my conscious mind was resistant and fighting against it and didn't want to see it because of the programming and other issues, right? And also just, not wanting to believe that there are certain things, regardless of whether she's your mother or not, that she can do because she is a human, and, she has her issues too. So I needed to get to a point of, being comfortable to look at myself and look at the issues that I was resistant to. Issues where, when it was time for me to look at them, I could, when I started paying proper attention to it, I I could consciously recognize and see the resistance. I was aware of the resistance happening, whereas previously I wasn't. But when I took the time to sit down and be quiet and be in the present and not worry about the future and not stress about the past and not be in a state of judgment, but understanding and being open to actually understanding what is it that I feel inside, what is it that's always hanging in the background, I was able to actually recognize the resistance instead of avoid it and brush over it. And the moment I pushed past the boundary and the hurdle of that resistance, I was able to see everything that I didn't want to see, or that I wasn't able to perceive for a very, very long time. But me being able to perceive it now and being able to recognize the truth in the situation has helped me a lot in understanding a lot of things that have gone on, understanding myself, being able to, again, deal with the individual from a healthy, detached position, and in turn also heal myself and recognize that, and be kind to myself, because when we also do self-love, and self-love is also you paying attention to the way you're talking to yourself, paying attention to, do I nurture myself when I talk to myself, or do I bash myself down? Do I speak kindly to myself the way I would want someone else to speak to me? Or am I just judging myself and tearing myself down? Am I judging myself when I look at myself the way I think the world judges me and looks at me? Or am I actually, am I able to, talk to myself and my inner child like I'm a child? Can you talk to yourself like you're a child? How would you speak to a child? That's how you would speak. That's how you should speak to yourself. How you would speak to a child, how you would nurture a child. That's how you should deal with yourself on the inside. It's not childish. It's what you need. Because many of us, as children, we didn't get that. Where can you be your own mother? Where can you be your own father? These are the things that we have to learn to grow into as we become adults and recognize where we were, deficient in those things as children, right? So, where can you get yourself inside? Spend time alone, away from everybody, and listen to yourself, observe yourself, look at yourself. Look at what comes up first and what comes up next as a bother or as something that you believe, or, if you ask yourself, sit quietly and ask yourself, what's bothering me? What hurts me? What don't I want to look at? And I promise you, Spirit will bring up to you the first thing that you need to look at, and it will generally always be the thing that's most on the surface. And as you continue with your process over time doing it, Spirit will guide you into going deeper and deeper and deeper. But again, you have to love yourself enough to prioritize that and to put that kind of healing above other things in your life. Recognize that you need it, value it, and take the time out to look after yourself, because you deserve it. You do. And there's only growth and getting to know yourself and having an intimate relationship that none of us growing up have been taught to have with ourselves. Everything is always focusing the energy on the outside, but now we can take time to be conscious and aware and focus that energy on the inside, right? That's how you learn to self-counsel. And that's how you mature, and that's also how you grow. And that kind of maturing and growing can't be measured on the outside by what you can buy. It's an inside job. Anyway, family, I will get into it in a different way in the future. I just hope that it's encouraged somebody to go within and get a true perspective of themselves. Pay attention to where they've put up, walls and cushions within their inner world and their minds to protect themselves from the things that they don't want to look at, the things about people and relationships they don't want to see, you don't want to see. And where you can, release and rise above, right? I'm going to grab a card from the Trust Your Vibes Oracle deck. Okay? And see what Spirit has to support our conversation, or give someone who's watching a nudge in a specific direction, right? May I please have one card, Spirit? May I please have one card? Thank you. I love it. Get a new story. Once you release and you shed all those things and you look at yourself, you recognize, okay, well, I'm in a different place in my life now. I don't need, once you heal all that stuff and you learn to deal with it from a different angle, and you don't allow those things that unprocessed hurt and unprocessed things that have happened to you, you don't allow them to be the foundation or the backdrop of your story anymore. Your energy changes and you become a whole new person. And you get a new story. You get a whole new story. And then there are things of your past and people and places and things that you won't even want to be attached to anymore, resonate with. Okay? And you learn how to, handle life from a detached place and not feeling like you have to attach to everything that's happened to you. You don't have to be attached to, people who have done you in a way that has wounded you, regardless of their label. You're allowed to love yourself, and you're allowed to choose yourself above anybody else outside of you. Okay? Let's see what the book has to say. Get a new story, number 41. Holding on to the belief that you are made only of old experiences disconnects you from the divine guidance and higher vibrations. How lovely is that? It aligns perfectly. Rather than letting your past define you, view it as a story you've outgrown or become tired of, and invent a new story for yourself. Create a new you, one who experiences synchronicities, magical moments, divine assistance, and happy endings. Don't define yourself by others' impressions and judgments. Define yourself as spirit, and invent a story that includes boundless help from your guides. Recognize how attached you are to your old, tired story of pain, suffering, frustration, and victimhood. See how often you recreate this miserable version of yourself when connecting with others. Do yourself and those around you a favor and retire the old story. It has bad vibes and cuts you off from higher guidance and positive vibrations. That was very nice. I don't even think I'm going to take another card. I'm going to just leave it over there, right? I hope this has resonated, And yeah, if you've come this far, hit the like button, and happy healing, family. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.